My dear students, today I am going to start your second chapter, that is input, output and memory devices. We are getting 6 marks from this chapter. We are getting 6 marks from this chapter for the annual examination, and how this 6 marks is going to be distributed means we are getting one question from 1 mark, one question from 2 mark, one question from 3 mark. Totally we are getting 6 marks from this chapter, right? So now let us see what is the name of the chapter. Input, output and memory devices. Input, output and memory devices. So means in this chapter we are going to discuss in detail about input devices, output devices and memory devices, right? So before going to discuss input devices, output devices, memory devices, let us recall what is mean by input, what is mean by output, what is mean by memory, right? Before going to study in detail input devices, output devices and memory devices, let us see once again what is the input, what is the output, what is the memory. We completed first chapter, right? From the first chapter with the reference of first chapter, we are able to define what is input, what is output, what is memory. These words discussed in the first chapter, right? So what is input? How we are going to define input? Input, how we are going to define input? The data which is entered by the user, which is going for processing, is called input, right? The data entered by the user which is going for processing is called input. For example, whenever you are going to write a C++ program, so after compiling and executing, running the program, it is going to ask enter 2 numbers to perform arithmetic operations. Then you are going to enter 2 numbers to perform arithmetic operations. So those 2 numbers are called input, because those 2 numbers are going to perform arithmetic operations, means those 2 inputs are going to be processed. So data entered by the user which is going for processing is called input. So those entered 2 numbers are called input. Next, what is output? Input is over. What is output? How we are going to define output? After processing, what the result we get is called output, right? Whenever user is going to enter input, those inputs are going for processing. So after processing means in the system, after processing what we get result, that result is called output, right? Whenever user is going to enter input, that input is going for processing. After processing what we get a result, that result is called output. And next is very important, memory. What is the memory or memory of a system? Means how we can define memory? Memory is a place where user can enter information and save it for future purpose is called memory. Means memory is a space where user is going to store data for future purpose. So the space where user is going to store data is called memory. In this way, we are going to define input, output and memory. So this is what concepts of first chapter, right? So the second chapter heading is input, output and memory devices, right? So in this chapter, we are going to discuss in detail about input devices, output devices and memory devices. Now we are able to understand input, output, memory, right? So now let us see in detail about one by one. Now today we are going to discuss this topic, that is input devices. Input devices. Input devices. So here let us see first what is mean by input device. A device which accepts data from the user. A device which accepts data from the user and sends it for processing is called input device, right? What is the input device? What is the input device? Input device is that accepts data from the user and communicates the same to the CPU is called input device, right? So what it mean? What is the input device? A device which accepts input from the user and after receiving input from the user, input device is going to send it to the CPU for the processing. So that device is called input device. Means we can say in this way also. What is the input device? It is a device which accepts data from the user and sends it to the CPU for the processing is called input device. Is called input device. And input devices are capable of converting a human understandable form data into machine understandable form. What is the function of this input device? Input device. What is the function of this? I bar P means short form, input device. O bar P means output device. Okay. So what is the function of this input device? It is not only just receives input from the user and it is not going to be directly send it to the CPU. Here one main task is there. Input device is going to perform such task. That is, input device is the one which receives or accepts data from the user and sends it to the CPU for processing. Such device is called input device. So it is not only accepts and directly send it to the CPU. It is going to perform one function, one operation. That is, this what is the function of input device means? Whenever user is going to enter info data, that data will be in the form of English or any languages. Okay. So whenever user enter information data, that thing is received by input device. and afterwards, before going to send it to the CPU, input device is going to convert human entered form into machine level language or binary form, that is 0 and 1 form, and afterwards sends it to the CPU for processing. So here, what is the function of output device? Converts data into machine level language, or we can say binary language, and afterwards send that binary language converted data or instruction to CPU. So here, input device is the one which accepts input from the user and convert user entered form to binary form, and afterwards send it to CPU for the processing. So this is the function of input device, right? Because why it is going to convert into binary form? Because the computer understood only binary language. Binary language means a language which is made up of only 2 digits, 0, 1 is called binary language. Computer understand binary language. That's why what we are going to give, that must be converted into binary form. So that binary form is made by a device called input device. So what is the function of input device? Input device is going to accept data from the user in the form of high level, in the form of English or whatever the Kannada language what he use. So afterwards convert that into binary form. After converting only, input device sends that data to CPU. So this is what function of input device, right? Now let us see what input devices are external devices connected to the computer system. Input devices are external devices connected to the CPU. Means what we are going to say, input devices are all called external devices connected to the CPU. Means those are not there inside the CPU. I said CPU contains so many things inside it and all the components are mounted on a board called a motherboard. That thing we will see in the afterwards. So what are input devices are there are all connected to the CPU. Means are all visible to us. That's why they are called external devices. Means all the input devices are connected to CPU, are connected to CPU, that is central processing unit. Now let us see what are the input devices. What are the different types of input devices? Different types of input devices are, first one, keyboard, second one, mouse, third one, joystick, joystick, fourth one OCR, fifth one OMR, sixth one MICR, etc. So we can say this list gives different types of input devices which are connected to the CPU, and input devices are called external devices. Means they are not inside the CPU, they are connected to the CPU. That's why they are called external devices. Means these are the different types of input devices or examples for input devices such as keyboard, mouse, joystick, OCR, OMR. I written here short form. We are going to see what X stands for and why it is used one by one. So joystick, OCR, OMR, MICR, etc. are called input devices. Here keyboard and mouse are the most commonly used input devices. Suppose we are using system, means 100% these things are needed. Means these among these input devices, keyboard and mouse are the most commonly used input devices. Now let us see one by one. So first one is keyboard. What is the first one? What is the first one? What is the keyboard? Now let us see what is mean by keyboard. So he says that the most common input device is the keyboard, consists of a set of typewriter with 105 to 108 keys. What is keyboard? Keyboard is the one of the most commonly used input device. It consists of a typewriter machine with 105 to 108 keys. Means I think you may see it, right? It will be like this keyboard, right? It is just like a typewriter machine. Right? And one cable is there, that is connected to CPU, right? That is connected to CPU. It is just rough diagram. It gives clear idea about keyboard, right? So what he says, keyboard is the most commonly used input device. It contains a typewriter machine with 105 to 108 keys. 105 to 108 keys. Means you can count on keys, key buttons which are there on keyboard. It is approximately 105 to 108 keys are there on keyboard. And this keyboard, these keys able to enter data into computers. These keys able to you enter data into computer. They have alphabetic keys to enter letters, numeric keys to enter numbers, punctuation keys to enter comma, period and semicolon etc. Function keys to perform particular function. Means this keyboard contains different types of keys on it. For example, it contains alphabet key, numeric keys, functional keys, arrow keys, etc. it contains variety of keys on it. Means alphabet keys contain letters A to Z, means usually R will be in the capital letter form, and we have one more option, one more button, that is caps lock button. By pressing caps lock, the letters are going to be printed in capital letters. Okay. If we need small letter, means once again we have to click on that caps lock key, then caps lock is off, then whatever we are going to print, they are printing in small letters. Like this, on the keyboard we can observe different types of keys, alphabet keys, next number keys. Number keys means it contain 0 to 9 digits. After pressing on number keys, we can observe numbers on monitor, and it has functional keys. I said F1 to F12 functional keys are there. By pressing function key, particular predefined task is going on. For example, by pressing F2, the work whatever you are going to performing, that work is saved and it is asked for file name. Like this, function keys F1 to F12 function keys are there, and afterwards arrow keys are there. Arrow keys means it gives direction like this. These are called arrow keys. By pressing the arrow key, the particular selected direction is working. So like this, we can observe different types of keys on keyboard. For example, delete key, spacebar key. Like this, by delete key means by pressing delete, the particular letter is deleted. So like this, and enter key, one more thing, enter key. By pressing enter key, the cursor is coming to next line, means monitor pointer is coming to next line. Like this, this is what brief information about different brief information about keyboard. And the next thing is types of keyboards. What is types of keyboards? Types of keyboards. We can observe different types of keyboards, such as standard keyboard, ergonomic keyboard, wireless keyboard, virtual keyboard, compact keyboard. What is first one? Standard keyboard. Standard keyboard. Second one, ergonomic keyboard. Third one, wireless keyboard. Fourth one, virtual keyboard. And fifth one, compact keyboard. Compact keyboard means, what is a keyboard? This is a most commonly used input device. It accepts, with the help of keyboard, user is going to enter data into the computer. It contains approximately 105 to 108 keys. It contains different keys like alphabet key, numeric key, function key, arrow key, punctuation keys. Means this key contains punctuation keys, means comma, semicolon, dot operator, like this. These are also there. And next, types of keyboard means we can observe 5 types of keyboards. 5 types of keyboards. What are those types of keyboards? Means standard keyboard, ergonomic keyboard, wireless keyboard, virtual keyboard and compact keyboard. Compact keyboard. In the exam, he is going to ask, list the types of keyboard and explain any 2 types of keyboard. Or else he asks, explain any 3 types of keyboard, because we are getting a 1 3 marks question from this chapter, right? So just let us see the definition of each type of keyboards. First one is what? Standard keyboard. Now let us see what is mean by standard keyboard. So standard keyboard, this type of keyboard have basic layout. This is a basic one. Standard keyboard means this type of keyboard have basic layout. The average number of keys on the keyboard is 105 to 108. In this keyboard, in the alphabetic keys section, alphabets like Q, W, E, R, T and Y comes in the first row. Therefore, this type of keyboard is also called QWERTY keyboard. So this standard keyboard is also called what? This standard keyboard is also called what? This standard type of keyboard is also called QWERTY keyboard. QWERTY. Why it is called a QWERTY keyboard? Standard keyboard is also called QWERTY keyboard. Why means? Because this type of a keyboard contains in the alphabetic section, in the first row it contains words like Q, W, E, R, T, Y. That's why it is also called QWERTY keyboard. Means what is a standard keyboard means? This is a what is a standard keyboard means? He says these keyboards have basic layout. Basic layout means it contains approximately 105 to 108 buttons on it. And the average number of keys on is 105 to 8. This type of keyboard have alphabet keys. In the first row it contains alphabets called Q, W, E, R, T, Y. That's why this standard keyboard is also called QWERTY keyboard. And next means second one, ergonomic keyboard. Ergonomic keyboard means this type of computer keyboard. This type of computer keyboard is designed to minimize muscle strains. Means what is a ergonomic keyboard means? This is a special type of keyboard. This keyboard is designed to reduce or minimize muscle strain. Means persons who are using computers daily 8 to 10 hours or more than 10 hours, they are having problems on their muscles because they are using regularly. Means persons who are using a daily system for their work 8 to 10 hours or more than 10 hours, of course they have muscle pain, muscle strain because continuous using of keyboard. That's why to reduce that muscle pain, a special keyboard is designed which is there in the form of V shape, V shape, and that keyboard contain all the alphabet key, numeric key on it, and it is operated by 2 hands. And this type of keyboard is going to reduce or minimize muscle pains. So that's why, so this is This specially ergonomic keyboard is used by those peoples who are using daily more than 10 hours. So instead of using a standard keyboard, they are going to use this specially designed ergonomic keys, because that is going to reduce the muscle strain. So this second one is called ergonomic keyboard. And next one, third one, wireless keyboard. The name itself tells what is mean by wireless keyboard, right? So a keyboard without wire which interact with the computer through Bluetooth or infrared technology is called wireless keyboard, right? And its cost is more than standard keyboard. What is the third one? Wireless keyboard means a keyboard without wire is considered as wireless keyboard. Without wire means keyboard is there, that keyboard has one button, just on that button then it is going to connect it to the CPU, and afterwards you can operate it. How it is connected means it is connected using a technology called Bluetooth, or it is working also on infrared technology. So then that wireless keyboard is connected to your CPU, and afterwards you can use it as usual how you are using standard keyboard, right? So this is called wireless keyboard. And the next one is virtual keyboard. Fourth one is virtual keyboard. Listen here, it is very important. What is a virtual keyboard? Virtual keyboard means this type of keyboard are made up of software. Means they are not a physical component, but whenever a system is on, virtual keyboard image is visible on a flat surface, then it act as a wireless keyboard. This keyboard may be called as a soft keyboard. Now see here, what is a virtual keyboard? He says virtual keyboard is a type of keyboard made up of software. Made up of software means it is not a hardware. See here, standard keyboard, ergonomic keyboard, wireless keyboard, compact keyboard, these are the hardware. Means they are made up of some they are called device because we can see and touch it, right? But the fourth one is a special one, because this virtual keyboard is not a hardware, it is a software, because this virtual keyboard is made up of a software. Just imagine, virtual keyboard is not a hardware, it is a software. Means whenever CPU is on, that then with the help of keyboard software, one keyboard is displayed on flat surface in front of user. One keyboard image is displayed on. After displaying image, we can realize that image as just like wireless keyboard. Operating on that image, working on that image, the particular thing is printing on monitor. That's why this virtual keyboard is called soft keyboard. Why? What is the other name of virtual keyboard? Soft keyboard. Because it is made up of software. It is not a physical component. And the next one is the last one, that is compact keyboard. What is a compact keyboard? Compact keyboard means a keyboard with a small size. It is about size of a laptop keyboard or even small. It is a very light in weight, and to make small in size, some extra keys are omitted or deleted. For example, enter key, spacebar key, etc. Means this compact keyboard is nothing but it is just like a standard keyboard. But what is the difference between compact and standard keyboard means compact keyboard is very less in size, very small in size compared to standard keyboard, and also it has a less number of keys compared to standard keyboard. And this compact keyboard, in compact keyboard some extra keys are deleted, omitted. For example, in the standard keyboard we have 2 enter keys, 2 space bar keys, like that. Those extra keys are deleted in the compact board. That's why its size is reduced, its weight is also reduced. The compact keyboard size is just like a keyboard of a laptop or even the small in size. So this is nothing but information of different types of keyboard. Means in this class we started to discuss input devices. We know what is meant by input devices. We are able to give example for input devices, and on those input devices just we discussed the first one, that is keyboard and types of keyboard. Okay, in the next class we are going to discuss remaining input devices. Thank you, students.